Hey there, everybody. How you doing? I'm talking guns again. So this Glock fanboy is trading in two Glocks for a Sig Sauer, my first ever Sig. It is the P320 XCompact RXP. So that's the one that comes with the uh, Romeo 1 Pro red dot sight, as well as the swappable co-witnessed night sights, and it has the rear sight that can persist. If you get the non-RXP version, you are stuck getting rid of that rear sight if you do put a red dot on it. But let me explain to you why. I always love Glocks. I've owned many of them. My first ever was a Gen 426, which was a phenomenal gun, shot extremely well. I just didn't feel that it did the concealed carry thing very well. It being as thick as it was, and this is, before, or they may have just come out with the 43, but I did own a 42, and I sold the 26 and the 42 to get the happy medium, the 43, and then I really wanted the 43X. So these have all been cleared. There's no ammo, and I checked them, quadruple checked them before. I do have dead ringer ring sights on there, which I really do like ring sights, but why am I going Sig now is because I shot the guns. So this is a good gun. It does put an awful lot of recoil into the hand. It's very snappy, and targeting is a little tough, as it can be with a gun with that much recoil, but it is slim. And then I have my most recent, or actually it's not, I bought my 10 mil, which I love, by the way, but this is a Gen 5, very nice gun, very expensive gun. After all is said and done, almost $800. This is a Gen 5 MOS, so it has the plate there, and if I ever did get a red dot for it, I'd have to get rid of my ring sights, but I've got dead ringer ring sights on this as well. But here's the thing. I went to the range, and my girlfriend has a P365 XL, which is more of a competitor to this, and I shot that thing way better than this or the Gen 5, believe it or not. And this is the thing, right? There's a reason why these debates are going to be around forever, because everybody is different. This is what I realized, that you look at the reviews and forums and things, and people ask which is better. And I saw on a Sig forum, it was about 50-50. Some people said they shot the 43X better. They felt that the 43X had lower recoil, that their shot placement was better. And then about half the other people felt the 365 was better. So it really does boil down to, I think, the individual, which is why this nerd fight, endless Glock versus Sig versus Smith & Wesson versus whatever debate, there's never going to be a definitive winner to this debate. But for me, I was just way more accurate with the Sig. So I ordered, it's on its way to the gun store now, this gun, which is the P320 XCompact. So the X means it has that little notch and a few other improvements in the grip. It has the notch in the grip, as well as the fully exposed base plate of that magazine. The compact does not have that. And I went with the top of the line with that red dot sight, because I do want to train on red dot sights, but I know that having that backup iron sight is important. But just to me, Glocks have fallen behind the 8 ball a little bit. Let me explain what I mean. First of all, their capacities are quite low for comparable guns. So the market is going in this very innovative direction with 1.5 stack and very compact double stack magazines, and Glock is sticking with their single stack for their slimline pistol line. This is 10 rounds. The P365 XL has 12 rounds and then has a 15 round extension. This is a little bit behind. You can upgrade it. You can get the shield arms with the special mag and the magazine catch and whatever, but Glocks, in my opinion, are kind of a lower end gun. They have cheaper components, like that guide rod in there is this cheesy plastic. Sure, you can upgrade them, but same thing, so that 320 has 15 +1 rounds. It's a little smaller than a Glock 19. It's kind of between a 19 and a 26. The 26 has 10 rounds in a double stack configuration. So for the size of the guns, their their capacities are quite poor. If you go to the Glock 43 and the 42, which is their 380, those are 6+1 guns. Just pathetic. Really, really, really poor capacity. And you kind of end up feeling like you're paying for the Glock name. The guns themselves, the capacity is low. They're very, very slow, very sluggish to adopt new technology. Style-wise, they're not terribly pretty, you know, and is that important? Well, it depends. Like if you're getting into the, you need to ask yourself, are you going to get into the hobby of firearms? And is that going to become a passion of yours? Are you going to get into enjoying it? Maybe modding the gun or just enjoy the collecting hobby. They are very bare bones. They're not terribly pretty. I think the Gen 5s are a little bit prettier. Something up with me with the Gen 4 and the Gen 5. I felt the Gen 4 shot way better. The trigger in the Gen 5s is slightly heavier. We're talking about maybe 7/10 of a pound, 6 or 7/10 of a pound heavier in the Gen 5s versus the Gen 4s. That was a big mistake. All the research I've done, the spring weights are the same, but the Gen 5s were kind of controversial. Now, the finger stippling I know is an issue for people with smaller hands. I actually like the finger stippling in the Gen 4s. It fits my hand better. But the Gen 5 9mm, which I was very excited to get this gun that I'm now going to be trading into the licensed dealer, it just doesn't shoot as well. I'm not as accurate with the Gen 5 as I was with my Gen 4. Even my Glock 26 Gen 4 I thought was silky smooth, perfect, imperceptibly different than the Glock 19. It was like just a little Glock 19, but it felt just as accurate. And that is not the case with this Gen 5. It is just kind of weird. It has a funny recoil to it, and I just kind of don't like it. It's not as smooth shooting as it should be. And I assumed it would be when I bought it, but not really. So this 43X, you know, it's how good could you expect a little belt gun, a little slimline pistol like this to be? Well, you know, all this innovation is coming up in the market, and I thought it was okay until I shot my girlfriend's P365 XL was impressively better. The recoil management was much better. I researched the spring weights. I thought, could it be that the Sig has a heavier recoil spring in it? And they're the same. They're about the same. And so now a Glock that I probably will never get rid of is my Glock 20 10mm, which is a Gen 4. I absolutely love it. We both love it. We both felt that for such a large caliber that the recoil was very manageable. It was very accurate. It was very fun to shoot. It was very reliable. Yes, it has the 4th gen stippling in it, but I don't know, guys. Do you agree or disagree? A couple other gripes about Glocks, okay? That the aggressive rake angle on the grip. So Glock really, really wants to encourage that proper technique, that thumb over, you really, really crank the wrist down. And that's uncomfortable and I think affects your accuracy. Whereas what you're seeing from CZ, like the CZ P10C, the Sig P320, it is more of a 90-degree angle on that grip, and it's just much more natural. You just put your hand out and your eye lines up with it, at least for me. So that's one thing. When you hold these Glocks with that aggressive rake, that severe angle on that grip, that is going out of fashion in exchange for a more upright one that is a more natural position when you put your hand out. And you hold that, to me, it was very hard to go back. This is just not as comfortable to be cranking your wrist down like that to get the angle that this gun demands. Just not as comfortable. And it's not as comfortable to hold, you know, just kind of very bare bones right there. Flat triggers, that's controversial. I like flat triggers. Glock will probably never adopt that. They're very, very, very late to adopt new technology and new things. They have this double internal trigger. No options. They basically make them one way. And the trigger is decent. I will give them that. The Glock trigger is decent. It's a little too heavy on the Gen 5. But also, the spongy magazine release, I was wondering why that was. That other guns just have this nice positive magazine ejection, and it's because the Glocks have that plastic coated, is a plastic shell around a steel magazine. It is a steel magazine, but they have that plastic coating around it to prevent rust and wear. But what that does is it creates friction within the magwell when you eject it, and you get a very slow drop, and then a spongy feeling when you work that magazine catch. When you work that, it's spongy. And other guns with that steel catch and a little bit better components here, you get that nice positive ejection. Very, very nice, very springy. My brother's CZ P10C has that nice positive eject. These don't, so steel mags, they just feel better to me. Maybe they'll rust one day, I don't know, but you can always get more mags. But little things like your guide rod here in the SIGs, they're captured and they're steel. And sure, you can upgrade them. Glock store has a really nice heavy tungsten guide rod I've had great luck with, but you're buying something that is a little bit cheaper, got some components in it that could use some upgrading. So these two, to pay for that gun, I am trading these two in for a gun that, in my view, is a jack of all trades that can do both of these and more. That 320 XCompact RXP with that Romeo 1 Pro. It can be inside the band, outside the band, home defense, training. It can do all of it and does it all very well. And everybody's going to argue about what shoots better for them. But for me, it was like night and day. For me, it was like once I shot the SIG, kind of have to go that way, with the exception of my 10 mil Glock, and I may see a 4th gen in the future or a 3rd gen. But now I kind of see why the 5th gens are not that great. The ergonomics of this thing are really nice. The size of it, how you get that full purchase on this, which is why I went from the 43 to the X. And in the store, that really sold me on it. When you shoot it, it's tough to shoot, and then you figure that's just the cost of doing business with a compact, slimline 9mm pistol like this. But then there are other offerings out there. You shoot the P365 XL. At least in my opinion, it was like, wow, it shoots so flat. It's going right where my eye is going. And at least for my carry guns, I will be switching to that. So again, Glock needs to innovate a little bit. They need to get off their high horse. They need to be, I think, a little less conservative. And I think they could stand to pick up the style a little bit. The MOS version does have a rail. This one does not. But then the most you're getting is one rail. The rails have utility, but they also add some cool tactical style to your firearm, and you just get the one. They could maybe sex these up a little bit and get the capacity up to what people are expecting. I think Glock should upgrade the components, put the heavy tungsten guide rods in there, offer a steel magazine, go all metal with things, and charge more for it as an option. But they're never going to do that. So, you just end up getting frustrated. And there has been a lot of innovation, and Glock is always last to the party when it comes to that. They're very sluggish with that. So I'll let you know how the P320 XCompact RXP goes. That was a mouthful. And let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you.